growing dependence of individuals, businesses, and governments and societies on ICT systems in a connected world means they face a high risk of cybersecurity risk. Increasingly, cyber attacks have become a major issue for not only huge organizations but for both small and individual transactions. Cybersecurity is a complex transactional issue that requires global cooperation for ensuring a safe cyber ecosystem. For instance, recent developments have shown an increase in cyber attacks on companies and transactions across the world. A good example is the WannaCry virus in May, with a repeated attack in June, disrupting aviation, logistics, and even security activities of nations. Today on the program, we're looking at on the face of the recent obvious cybersecurity attacks, to what extent is Nigeria safe, including financial services and transactions, governance and skills of civil servants always online, security operatives not excluded. Not also forgetting economic implications, awareness and advocacy, and examine these issues, risk, precautions, and way forward. I have in the studio men who have been in this industry, who understands it. Some hackers, some have managed enterprises and security of enterprises. So, gentlemen, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you very much. It's all right. So, I think we begin this way. To what extent can you say that our cyber system, the Nigeria cyber system, is pretty safe? Let me start with you, Engineer Ike.
Thank you, and thanks for the invitation. The truth is, if you recall, last year, when the Nigeria 2016 cybersecurity report was released, one of the findings indicates that the country is ill prepared in the various areas that was reviewed for cybersecurity. First, it was found that we lag behind other African countries in the number of cybersecurity experts per citizen. In other words, when you check our population and then compare with the number of cybersecurity experts, certified cybersecurity experts we have, we are the lowest among the 5 countries that was reviewed in the report. And that means that even from a human resource standpoint, we are ill prepared to handle the challenges. Also, even in the same report, it's conservatively estimated that last year the country lost about $550 million. And from all the statistics, that is a conservative estimate of what it costs, which means it's also costing the country already a lot. And one other part of it is beyond the lack of adequate number of well-trained people that will secure our cyberspace. Even within organizations, a lot of effort is not being placed on training people, making people aware of the best practices that needs to be adopted in order to make their daily activity online to be more secure. People still click on emails that just by being more aware they should not bother clicking on. People still download files that if they are properly informed should not bother downloading because the issue is not whether there's an attempt to defraud somebody or to attack your system. The issue is how do you respond to it and what do you have already to protect yourself.
Are there behavioral pattern, in terms of lack of skills that can be responsible for some of the cyber issues that we see or notice in Nigeria, borrowing from what is happening in other parts of the world?
Yeah, behavioral issues. Looking at it from an angle that we, like he said earlier, we have less manpower when it comes to this. Where other countries are building cyber warriors, and then what are we doing in the country? Is the question. We are not really doing enough to get us secure. Now, and when you look at the might, when you hear cyber warrior, though nobody talks about that. But what you hear is hacker and ethical hackers. And when you say, I'm an ethical hacker or I'm a hacker, there's this mind of fear in people. Threats.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's kind of try to isolate these people. But the truth is that you need the hackers to beat the hackers. You need them. So I think, like he said earlier,
okay, let me pick you there. For the purpose of those watching right now, who is an hacker?
Well, at every level, I think a layman, maybe somebody by the street, would be able to define a hacker in his own or her own understanding. But if I want to give you, let's say, a global definition of a hacker, I would say a hacker is somebody that takes the vulnerabilities of a system for an offensive purpose, for a malicious use.
Okay.
So we have the hacker, the whites, and ethical, and the hacker.
Okay. Is it that we do not have, a capacity to develop the software, the kind of software that we need, that really can protect, our transactions, that makes us, vulnerable to this kind of cyber attacks?
Thank you, Bayo. In answering that, I think I would like to re-emphasize on the outlook on cybersecurity. He mentioned something interesting, that it involves enormous costs. You also look at organizations with their budget constraints. You understand? In the financial world, not just only in the financial world, in every other aspect and industries, you have issues whereby people tend to focus so much on usability and purpose of the software, and they look down on security. So we have an app. Our competitors are already having their app. Why are we not having it? Please meet this and this within this timeline. Yeah. And you see the developers trying to strive to meet that timeline. In that process, many other things are left unnoticed. Many other standards are not adhered to. You understand? So this causes so many issues. Recently, I was looking at a report by CBN, and I understood that for just the banks, over 65 billion was lost because of cybercrime between January 2014 and 2016, December 2016. Now, when you look at these vectors, like the channels that were used, mobile, ATM, web, you see that Nigeria has so much potential in cybersecurity, especially in defense. Yes. And also, if you look at on the organization side, I think financial institutions need to scale up to meet standards globally, because it must be there. It must come. You understand? It's just a matter of when. Recently, you hear so much news about ransomware. Yeah. You hear the Petia family. You hear as of today, as I'm talking to you, Ukraine, they are still suffering from the recent non-Petia attack. You understand? And when you look at such institutions, when cybercrime can make all operations in the country be at steel, it becomes a national problem. Yeah. You understand? And in answering your question, software developers actually, we have the capacity to build softwares that does this, but the government also has a role to play.
To what extent should Nigeria, be afraid of cyber attacks? Our military formations, the security system, and all of those other things, we keep focusing on the financial system. Is it that our security system is so secure, that we should not talk about it? Let me come back to you.
Well, it's a catch-22. Number one is there are some specific information that should be classified that we shouldn't be talking about anyways. And most times when you have to do with national security issues or defense, it falls within that. So it wouldn't be appropriate, for instance, for the military to come on open air just to create quote-unquote confidence on Nigerians.
But we are not soldiers, we are not military, so we can talk about if they are vulnerable, we should be able to say that. Okay,
I'm with you on that. The point is, irrespective of what they have, it's not something that should be out there in the public. That is number one. So the fact that we may not be seeing some of this in the public doesn't mean they don't have it. I, for instance, I know the Office of National Security Advisor, the NSA, they've got a lot of system. They've got this national CECAD, which is the to computer incident reporting network. And what they've done now is create a policy that NCC is trying to set up one, and various other agencies are meant to set up theirs, just to secure and disseminate information on cybersecurity and all. So this is there, but in line with what you're saying, which is where I don't think it's something that I wouldn't use the word we should be afraid, but we should be knowledgeable about the potential risk, and then ask ourselves the questions: do we have the infrastructure to handle this? When we did a research and found out that Nigeria, while we have the largest population in terms of subscriber usage, we were lacking very low in terms of reported incidents. And somebody knows it can't be right. But when we did the analysis, we found out that it was so because most of the infrastructure we are riding on is hosted outside the country. Now that is being reversed. We are deploying more infrastructure locally within the country, which means now some of the things we've not been noticing, we'll start noticing it.
There's a new development in Nigeria, that is the Treasury single account. That means all our money are now in an account. Okay? Is it possible to hack it?
Well, it's possible.
How possible is it to hack it?
Well, there is a database. There is a database for you to have a kind of treasury single account talking about. There is a database. So there is a connection, there's a network, and you have people there. So you can hack that kind of thing by so many means. It could be social, it could be online, it could be through the website. People are going to be doing transactions online, like we do these days. So it is very, very easy.
I can imagine the minds of people, watching us right now. What really is this cybersecurity thing that we are talking about? Is it that I should not use my phone? Is it that I should not use the internet? If I must use the internet, what are the things that I should do? What are the things that I should not do, even as a civil servant?
The battle in the cybersecurity space is not who has more power, military might, but who has more competitive information, more data. Like he rightly said, when you click next, yes, it's all about you have the other part of the world, the country giving you that service is going to have your data. But at the same time, there's a flip side. The flip side is that they use that data actually to give you a better experience and a more tailored experience. Yes, if you these days, if you go to Facebook or you open a site which has some AdSense link to Facebook, by the time you go back to that site, you see tailored adverts of what you've already searched for before. Yes, it's called linked data. Linked data enables service providers to have a holistic profile of user browsing activity. What he likes, where is he from. It also has roots into cybersecurity because if, like when we, in the financial institution, one of the indicators we use to learn abnormal user activity is location. A user logs in from Lagos every day. Now he logs in 12 o'clock in the afternoon. By 1, he's logging in from Germany. It's an indicator. It's a red flag. Notify the user. Block that activity. Recently, data has shown, he also said it in the Nigerian report, data has shown that Nigeria is now, I don't think there was, over 50 government websites were hacked. They were defaced totally in recent years. Statistics
even
has
that
this.
of EFCC.
It was defaced, it was hacked. Continuous. Even as I'm talking to you, there's a medical company in VI, their system is still hacked, and it is hacked. They are showing, if you go to the website, you see you are hacked. So government had to do those strategies.
Thank you very much, Jeremy. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it, man. Well, that is the show for the week. If you have any comment or suggestions, please send them to bayeroagabi@gmail.com, or better still, you can text the number on your screen. Until then, I remain yours sincerely, Bayero Agabi. Peace.